Hello, good evening and welcome to the programme.
Tonight's main stories. The former mayor abused as a teenager in care says people like her need more support.
We're out hunting for potholes as new figures report the number of cars being damaged has risen threefold since last year.
I've never seen them as bad. I've been warning about this for over 13 years, about lack of investment of resurfacing our roads. We've now got a tipping point.
Ringing the bell for prostate cancer, are we finding out how pubs are trying to get more men talking about their health?
Plus, earning while they're learning. How more young people like Eva are choosing an apprenticeship rather than university.
And I've been in the presence of a cricketing legend, none other than Sir Vivian Richards, who's been a guest at Bedford School.
Hello from David and from me. Welcome to the programme.
First tonight, the former Mayor of Dunstable is calling for stronger safeguards within the care system as she speaks on camera for the first time about the sexual abuse she experienced as a child.
Louise O'Riordan was in care when she was abused. Many years later, in her 30s, she decided to report what happened.
Now, Louise has waived her right to anonymity in order to share her story. She wants to encourage other survivors of childhood abuse to speak to someone. Sophie Wiggins' report does contain some distressing details.
Louise O'Riordan is known in Dunstable as a former mayor and councillor, but behind years of public service is a painful past. As a teenager, she was placed in the care system where she experienced sexual abuse, something that would take decades to speak about.
In that actual place where I was asked to be open and honest, I was actually also experiencing the very thing that I'm now talking to you about, which was the abuse. So, yeah, that makes me feel sick in my stomach, actually, to think of it like that, because it should have been a safe place, and I thought it was a safe place, but actually it wasn't. I had to keep secret for many years. This is healing for me to talk about it on camera. I've never done that before.
Louise's abuser was later convicted and put on the sex offenders register for life, but it would take her more than 20 years to come forward. She says many of those years were consumed by addiction and that getting sober was what enabled her to finally face what had happened and tell social services.
I felt there was a betrayal bond for me because I felt that I'd ruined their lives by telling. And actually, this is not my shame, it doesn't belong to me. Bringing up all of that stuff has affected my relationships. It's brought a lot of stuff to the surface. I don't regret it. I know it was the right thing to do. And actually, it's the thing I'm most proudest of in my life. I did it, I saw it through, I went to court, as scared as I was. He went to prison, he's faced his consequences. I'm proud of that.
Since then, Louise has dedicated much of her life to public office in the hopes of helping others.
I became the mayor of my town. That's not something I ever thought would happen. I was in the care system, in the gutter, became an alcoholic addict. I was a write-off, but actually I turned my life around and I'm doing something good and I'm honest about it in the hope that that empowers somebody else to tell their story.
And she says people do come to her to share their own stories, and now she wants to see some change.
There needs to be a bigger sense of responsibility and more accountability when it comes to the authorities that safeguard or check for where these children are going to be placed next. I believe that we should create a platform where people feel safe to be able to be open. We need to create that space. Otherwise, people won't come forward as much as they could or should. I think the government needs to make a real heartened effort to tackle abuse in all its forms.
The long-term impact of abuse is something Louise says she'll carry forever, but she hopes that by continuing to speak out, other survivors, no matter how long ago their experience, will find the courage to do the same. Sophie Wiggins, ITV News, Dunstable.
Well, let's speak to Becky Osborne, who supports those who've been sexually assaulted or abused. Becky, we often hear that survivors of abuse can take years, sometimes decades, to come forward, if at all. From your experience, what are some of the biggest barriers that stop people from speaking out?
Sexual violence and abuse has devastating impacts on your mental and physical well-being. lots of people aren't necessarily in a safe space to be able to speak out about what's been happening to them either. So we certainly see a lot of people who haven't spoken to anyone before, whether that's it happened one day ago or 70 years ago. It's a huge range in between. But certainly for cases where we have people like Louise who are in the care system, the people who are charged with protecting and supporting that young person are the ones that are abusing or enabling that abuse and completely failing those children. So it's really natural that they have this distrust of any kind of professional, including support services such as ours in rape crisis. So we have a lot of work to do to rebuild that trust.
And you do some amazing work. Tell us what kind of support that an organisation like yours could offer.
So that can be one-to-one counselling, it can be psychoeducation or group therapy. We also offer practical support, so people who are interested in reporting their experiences to police, we have specialist workers for them, as well as general advocacy if survivors are experiencing issues with things like housing, immigration or debt. And we offer kind of emotional support like telephone support or peer support if it's important for that survivor to meet with other survivors and find a sense of community. So it's all really dependent on the individual and how we can help, really.
And Becky, if someone watches this interview and they feel like they might need help, they're ready to take that first step, what advice can you give to them?
If you're watching this and you've been affected by sexual violence, just know that there are so many other people like you. Sexual violence operates in the darkness, and we're made to think that it's only us that this has happened to, but it's not. It's 1 in 4 women, it's 1 in 6 children. So there are these specialist support services available to you that are very happy and willing to give you that support. All you need to do is go to the Rape Crisis England and Wales website, where you can find information about the 24/7 anonymous helpline, and they also have an online chat service. And you can also pop in your postcode and location to find your local rape crisis centre like SASP MK. That's there to support you as well.
There is support out there. Becky Osborne, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
And to add to that, the Department of Education told us that new reforms into the care system that are designed to boost carer recruitment will not involve removing or weakening any safeguards for children.
Some more of your day's news. A serving prisoner has been charged with murdering Soham killer Ian Huntley. Anthony Russell, who's 43, and